Amy Masalami.
Present.
Sue Mackey.
Present.
Tim Griffin.
Present.
Steve Nation.
Present.
Madam President, we have quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll ask for the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilor Alex.
Dear Lord, may we pray for the safety of our young students and teachers as they start the new school year. Special prayers for our first responders, our military servicemen and women who protect our rights and freedoms, and provide us with the guidance and knowledge to make decisions to support this great county. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we'll move into the public hearing. I will open the public hearing and we will have Zach Klutz from TAP Law introduce the resolution CC 08-07-0-2024.03, a resolution of the County Council of Hamilton County, Indiana, making a preliminary determination to enter into a lease agreement and making a determination of need for a public safety training facility project.
Good evening, Council. Zach Klutz with TAF Law. Before you is a resolution for introduction only, but also for purposes of conducting a public hearing. The public safety training facility financing is contemplated to include a property tax element, and therefore it will be deemed a controlled project and subject to two public hearings, one this evening and the next, which is currently scheduled for your next meeting in September. At the public hearing is an opportunity for the public to be heard on the project, as well as to discuss the resolution and the statutory financial information that's included in the resolution. I'll say that in addition to property taxes, it's contemplated that the TIF revenues from the 96th Street US 421 EDA and allocation area will also be part of the financing of this project. And I just report that on Monday, the Carmel City Council provided their consent to the use of that TIF revenue by a vote of 8-0. In terms of the resolution, this resolution includes two findings. One, a determination of need for the public safety training facility project, and also a preliminary determination to move forward with the entering into a lease for the financing of the project. And then finally, in Section 2, the resolution includes the statutory information required by a controlled project. So I'll pause there, answer any questions on the resolution. I think we have people here to talk on the project generally as well if needed.
Should we put a pause on this since we don't have the deal worked out with Westfield yet?
I don't believe so, and for the following reason. This is the first step of just a preliminary determination. We still have 30 days until the next hearing, and then after that hearing, even if this is adopted, we have another 30-day period for public objections before we can even enter into the definitive financing agreements. So I think there's a runway there to get that finalized.
So we're not without risk.
I don't believe there's risk in that this is a preliminary determination. The bond ordinance and the financing agreements would be what you would not want to enter into prior to having a deal with Westfield.
Sure, and the numbers could change theoretically too.
They could change, and the only risk there would be if the numbers went up. This is a not to exceed number, so you could move forward with the project under this resolution so long as the project does not go above the amount that's stated.
Chris is still on the phone, right?
And this is a standard process that we start with pretty much every project. There's obviously design to do, coordination to do with operating agreements, land acquisition, again, getting to a GMP with the contractor, and at the end of the day, the bond is just one piece, and then we'll have to also enter into an agreement for the GMP at some point in time in the future as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities.
Right, I think this is just giving us the opportunity at least, but not to exceed from a bonding perspective.
It is, but we don't have the ground to build it yet. We don't have that secured. And so we're going to go into a process, even with a 30-day wait, that we don't have the ground to build it on yet.
I'm not sure we had the ground to build the bot for the parking garage at that time either. That
What
happened after the fact.
I wasn't responsible for that one.
It's just an intro,
Well-
though. Yeah, I guess it's just, like, we're not necessarily moving on anything, right? We're introducing it. There will be additional opportunity next month. So
Yeah, it sets it in motion. It gives us the 30 days, if I understand it right. Isn't that right, Zach?
And so, to your question, Councilman Hall, the project has already been started, so the project is in motion to some degree. We have a design team, we have a BOT developer, so the process is moving. As Madam President said, there are several other moving items. I think maybe Councilman Alexander also said that. This is only one of them, and so there are several other, I would say, off-ramps at that point in time. If you were able to either secure a lease with Westfield, which I believe we will do, it's just a matter of time. We had some pretty productive conversations with them just this week. You have to still work through the BOT guarantee max price and stuff, so there's other things that you can get off and say that we're not moving forward with this, but all indication at this point in time, I think we're heading in the right direction. And as Zach said, this is just one of the many steps. This is not binding the county to the financing. It's just a required part for the controlled project determination.
Councilman Hall, I'd make an additional point to that. This is very similar to the process that we undertook for the Judicial Center project. This body did make a preliminary determination to move forward with that project in July of 2023. After that preliminary determination was made, there was a decision to pause. And so we have paused, and that project will hopefully move forward, but that's just an example of, even if this resolution is adopted in September, there are off-ramps available.
Sure, big difference. We own the ground for the Judicial Center expansion. We don't have the rights to the ground. We don't have the right to build this yet.
I was simply
we didn't
giving an
at the time
example.
We're still
in
deciding.
2023 because we didn't know
Where we were
what was
gonna build it.
happening.
As we go back to the west.
Well, we hadn't made that determination though until,
A couple months ago.
yeah, a couple months ago.
Yeah,
Because
both
there
were on
was
the
still
table.
other items in play on whether or not it would go.
Yeah, I don't want to appear to be stranded to swallow a gnat. It's just we don't have the ground, and we're going to start the process to spend a whole bunch of money, and we don't have the ground in place.
I would say that considering that in some ways we've had the ground since 2016, I don't see that there's going to be a problem. Now, maybe there is, but it sounds like we've got multiple ways to get off this if we needed to. But it seems like the rest of the communities have been pretty committed to this since 2016, or maybe 15, whenever it was. And so I don't see Westfield not following through with these grounds. And if they do, it doesn't sound like it's any sort of a problem.
Chris, do you see any reason that we would need to pause
Well,
right now as far
Oh,
as
right
with
now,
the,
no.
with the introduction?
doesn't budget
portion?
anything.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Okay.
I would keep it moving until you decide you don't want
Okay.
to do it anymore.
Okay.
Or until you reach the point where you
Right.
can't go back.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there
Thanks,
any
guys.
other
Thank you.
questions? Are there any comments from the public?
Madam President, I don't know if you want to have this during the public comment period, but Darren Peterson, the architect, is here too, and Steve Wood too. So if you want to close the public comment, if there's no other public comment, they're here to ask any, or to answer any questions you guys may have about the design or the construction side of it too. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that.
No public comment. Are there any questions then that we would have for Darren and Steve? Seeing none at this time, we'll close the public hearing and we will move forward. Next item, the reading and approval of the minutes from our regular meeting on 7/5.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. One item to note, Madam Auditor, I believe we would have had minutes to approve from the joint session on, and we didn't have to do a joint session on 7, gosh, I can't keep it, okay, my apologies. There's so many that we've had, so I apologize. At this point, are there any public comments regarding any item on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee and officer reports under president. One item that I wanted to get an understanding from council, do we wish to stream both days of budget hearings, one day, which was the first day, or none at all? What's the consensus?
Can I just say, last year, we streamed the budget hearings, and then when we deliberated as a council, we no longer streamed.
So that'd be the first day and not the second day. That's what I would suggest.
And I would
recommend streaming both days because I believe legally we're moving in that direction anyway, although we're not legally required to now. And there was a disagreement or differing recollections of what was said on a second day that I wish I could have watched what the person that came in front of our council about a contract with an outside organization, what exactly they said, because the minutes didn't reflect to that level of detail. That would have been very useful to see, okay, did she say that or not say that?
Yes.
So
There-
just would.
There
she's
is a recording. There is the recording for you, but it wouldn't have been on
for
the
the
It wouldn't have been
public.
visual, but there's audio
Audio.
of every meeting.
Yeah.
That
So you
would
could have
been
referenced back,
useful,
yeah.
Hmm.
So I think,
Well-
what Sue is referencing, and I thank John for providing this to me earlier this week. There is legislation that was passed, starts in July of 2025, where you're required to stream. So I'm not opposed to doing both days. I mean, in fairness, they can come in here while we're deliberating anyways, and so what's the harm? And so I would say, if somebody wants to make a motion, because I don't know that we're all in consensus, or how would you guys like to proceed?
I'll make the motion to stream both days.
Second that.
Is there any discussion?
Is there an additional cost?
I don't know if that was figured into our original agreement.
No,
Yeah, I thought it was all encompassing, but I'm not sure.
but all these are streamed two
Through-
ways.
Yeah, that's correct. So, are there any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, we will stream both days. Another is a reminder to the public that for our September meeting, it will be a 5 PM meeting time because of budget hearings. So just making everyone aware. I know last year, I think we had people maybe showing up at 7, but it is at 5 in September. And then we do have scheduled for October 2nd, a 5 PM start for an exec and joint session. As we go through the budget process, I know there will be additional items, so I'll just ask that council send those to me so I can coordinate with the commissioners. And that is all I have, Madam Vice President.
I have two items. The first one is Emily Pearson, a Cicero Town Councilor, who's also a longtime serving member on the Hamilton North Library Board. She tendered her resignation on the library board to devote more time to the Cicero Town Council and all the things before that body. So we will have an open board position for the Hamilton North Public Library. That resident has to be a member or a resident of Jackson Township to serve on that board. We will be accepting applications for that position until August 28th. And the way you apply is through the Hamilton County website, the board appointment portal. If you just go to the hamiltoncounty.in.gov and go to council, and then there's on the left-hand side, board appointments, and you just click on that and it'll take you to the link to apply. And so we will accept applications till August 28th, and we'll make our decision by the next month's council meeting. And then the other motion I have is to amend this agenda to include a property purchase resolution CC-08-07-2024.04.
I'll second.
And then it's been moved and seconded, so all those in favor to add to the agenda?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve then for discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion around the resolution that was discussed in earlier session? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Anything further, Madam Vice President?
No, that's it.
Highway,
We did not meet.
Finance,
We have a meeting later on this month.
great, thank you. Personnel,
We replaced the meeting with a poll, but just want to specifically call out Councilor Griffin, Councilor Alexander, working extensively on so much of this analysis we've done, and the sheriff and Chief Deputy Lowe's. We have spent hours and hours and hours going through corrections compensation and merit deputy compensation, command staff compensation, and personnel. Lots and lots of time. So I want to give a hat tip to all those folks involved in that process.
thank you all. Miscellaneous.
I'll just say, well, major projects didn't meet this month, but we're gonna be setting up a meeting, so we have several projects that'll be coming up.
I'm sorry, that has to be, I have to do that manually,
That's
and
okay.
I didn't share that.
That's okay,
It's okay.
it's miscellaneous, that's all right.
He gave the update, so you're okay. Is there anything further under miscellaneous? Seeing none, we'll move on. We have nothing in unfinished, nothing in tabled. We'll move on to new business, approval of vendor claims. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the sheriff commissary report for January 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. This is acknowledgement of receipt. Are there any questions surrounding that? Moving on, we have the interlocal agreement between the city of Westfield and Hamilton County, 191st Street project share. Is there a motion on
Motion to
the?
approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
Everyone knows this is what we already discussed for projects that we're writing that 181st Street.
I do have a question. The highlighted part in the first paragraph, item 2, under A, refers to the acquisition of real property as required for such additions, improvements, and expansion to the Government Judicial Center building.
Under the,
Am I looking at the wrong one?
yeah. Yeah.
This is what we're looking at here.
Which resolution? What was the resolution?
It's.
We're working on the interlocal
It's the
agreement.
interlocal.
I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Thank
No
you.
problem. Are there any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is Resolution CC 08-07-24-01, a resolution of the Hamilton County Council recommending 2025 property tax levy limits for taxing units.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item E, TAF Resolution Number CC 08-07-2024-02, a resolution of the County Council of Hamilton County, Indiana, making a determination of need for a judicial center project and a non-judicial center project. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
That's where I have my question.
Yes, sir. Do you want to repeat it since we?
I'm just looking for clarification, Zach, on, is this because we pledged the certified sheriffs from the county as well?
No, let me just give a quick background. So this is a continuation of the preliminary determination process that this body completed in July of 2023. We're now resurrecting that project or projects and financing. So the next step is to make a determination of need for each project. And in order for the county to move forward under the lease rental statute, before the Board of Commissioners can enter into a lease, this body needs to make a determination that both projects are needed. So that's what this resolution does.
Okay. I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
And I think when you say about the there's a need for lay-down space as well as construction offices on the north side and things like that.
That's that non-judicial
might be-
piece.
Correct. So when the preliminary determination process was done in July of 2023, since that time, the scope has changed a bit and some a new project component has been put into place. What we've called the non-judicial, which is non-judicial parts, more administrative, admin offices, county auditor, county surveyor, county treasurer spaces. So this is what we're designated as the second component, the non-judicial. This also allows us to do this project, or both projects, excuse me, in one bond issuance and not have two bonds and double issuance cost.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move on to additional appropriations, reductions, and transfers. I'll open the public hearing concerning additional appropriations. Item A, there's a few items under Fund 1000 County General. The first item is the Commissioner's agenda for $150,000.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I do have a comment, just related, maybe a little bit more detail. So it talks about to cover costs incurred and planned additional professional services but what are those costs? Like who
These are
was?
for the sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm saying just within, we may
On the
know,
document.
but on the document, there's no
I agree.
explanation
You
as
just
to what it is.
spell it out.
So Lee, and this isn't directed just at you, it's just in general from a detail some of the justifications are narrow in understanding, so I'm not saying that you need to explain this now, just in general, if we can have a little more detail, and there were a couple other, just because it's all encompassing of professional services, so where did the additional costs?
Yeah, this one is probably more specifically related to some PR and legal costs.
Okay,
I didn't specify the details of it, but it's mostly or exclusively PR and legal
We
related
discussed this
fees.
at our joint meeting, so I understand.
no, and I just had it on the list to just, because again, we had
Yes,
talked
we
about,
talked
there
about
were,
it. We were
when we
looking
had
into
talked
some of the other
previously, it
ones
was
and
just, there were some
like-
others that we just wanted a little more detail,
Understand.
so, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. ISS 144 amendment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3, the sheriff, 3A, additional appropriation of $750,000.
So moved.
Second.
And it has a more descriptive.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes, that
it
was an
does.
example of where his was descriptive as far as the information, so thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3B, 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, Fund 1053, HHW transfer in the amount of $10,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Fund 1161, Health Trust Fund transfer of $125,000.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? This is another one that did details, so that was great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item D, Fund 1222, Communications, additional appropriation in the amount of $60,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I had spoken with the CFO Bethel. If you'll notice the justification, this is to your point, Madam President. It says we need to bring back $100,000, which is in opposition to the $60,000 ask. He corrected it, if I understand correctly, sent an update to the auditor's office.
Okay, sorry.
So it should be 60 instead of the 100 that says when the reference.
The justification.
Justification.
Right,
Just to your
no,
point
yeah,
about justification.
yes,
so.
on the 100,000, yes, the 100,000 in the notes, that's why the update was made on the agenda to 60, yes, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item D2, 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item E, Fund 1235.2518, lit dedicated to PSAP. We have a request for an additional appropriation in the amount of $19,449.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just passed back along. Cicero was very pleased that that was available to get that generator back up.
Good. Anything further? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item E2, a transfer in the amount of $498,043.47.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, Fund 4925, FSSA Vocational Rehabilitation Services, requesting $65,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We move on to grant appropriation transfers and reductions.
Motion to combine 1 and 2, A, B, and C for each.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, we'll close the public hearing and move on to announcements. Sheriff,
I don't have anything, thank you.
council attorney,
Nothing for the group.
Madam Auditor, I know you have one item.
Oh,
The
yes, I
memo.
do. Thank you. I
You're
noticed
welcome.
it.
No problem.
And it says so right there. So this is yearly reminder about the upcoming public hearing and your final adoption. So so we just present this to you, we make it part of the record, so hopefully we'll have a quorum.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anything further for the greater good? Seeing none, we are adjourned.